Stop recording button. Double tap to activate.
It's finishing Friday. I'm stitching in my way. Just wanna be sitting with needles and knitting. Hello, my yarn loving friends. Yes, this video is about yarn. Yay! Right? And it's finishing Friday, so today, what's that really in the yarn world, the crafting and creating world? It's just show and tell. I'm going to show you my projects, and because if you don't know yet, hi, my name's May. I love yarn, I love to knit and crochet, and I also happen to be visually impaired. And I'm out here on the internet to promote accessibility, which means I'm going to use my words and describe my projects for other people who are blind or visually impaired. So if you're a returning viewer, thank you for your patience while I explain that for new viewers. So get your beverage, get your project, whatever it is, and you can of course put that in the comments section. You can say hello and you can let me know what it is that we do together while we hang out. Are you crocheting with me? Are you knitting? Are you cross stitching? Are you just folding your laundry? Are you on your exercise bike? I don't know. Whatever it is, you're totally welcome to do that. And because I do use my words, you can feel free to look at your project or something else, because I'm going to describe it for you. So, today's finished project that I have today is a crochet market bag or tote bag. And it's made with a double crochet V-stitch. And it is, mine happens to be red, white, and blue. It is the Fiesta Red, which is described as a vibrant, bright, orangish red. It is a true white, very bright white, and then it's a nice medium blue. And that is what it looks like. And then it has, I did my strap in the Fiesta Red. Now this is not my own creation. I did not design it. I got this pattern from Glenda over at Creative Grandma. This is Glenda's Glow Tote. Now I know you're looking at it and you're going, that doesn't look like Glenda's Glow Tote. Well, not really, because I substituted yarn, and we're going to talk about that. And I modified the pattern because I'm a beginner. Okay, I am not Glenda. Do I want to be Glenda? Of course I do. I want to crochet as good as Glenda. I want to design as good as Glenda. That's my goal. I aspire to be like her, but I'm not there yet. I've been crocheting for less than a year, okay? So, for me, I wanted to make some modifications. So when I share with you what I did with this pattern, it is in no way criticism of Glenda, of her design, or of her tutorial. If it weren't for her, I probably wouldn't be crocheting, okay? I do not have enough sight to see what's happening on my phone screen. Even I don't have a computer or anything like that, so I do all my crocheting on my Samsung S23 Galaxy phone, and I can't zoom it in big enough for me to see. And she has got me through the Victorian Star blanket behind me. It's greens and browns and reds. She got me through making my bunny up here, my blue bunny. And I wouldn't be doing any of these projects if it wasn't for her tutorials. They are so good. They're like she's sitting down there right next to you, coaching you through every single step. So I am not criticizing her in any way. I'm just going to talk to you about what I did for me, because I'm super new to crocheting. So the first thing is it's Glenda's Glow Tote. It's a glow. It's made with the Lion brand Glow yarn. And of course, when this yarn came out, when she and Cody first worked it up, I was like, oh, I want some of that yarn, right? I want glow in the dark yarn. But you know what I talk about in my videos, budget and space. I can't afford all the yarn. Do I want all the yarn? Heck yeah, I want all the yarn. I want all the yarn, okay? But I just can't afford it. and I have a mountain of yarn in my house. So as much as I wanted to get on the Amazon or go to lionbrand.com and buy some glow yarn, and it's only 3 skeins. If you want to get the 3 skeins of glow yarn, I say do it. She did hers in white, lilac, and pink, I believe. So it only was 3 skeins of yarn. So could I probably have figured out a way to afford it? I probably could have. Could I have figured out a way to stash it until I wanted to use it? Probably, because I wanted to use it right away. So, but I just really am feeling like I just couldn't justify it. So we're going to talk about decisions on substituting yarns, right? So the yarn that she used is a number 4 yarn, and it's a polyester, and it's a tote bag. Now, when you're going to substitute a yarn, the things that you need to look for the most are the weight of the yarn, right? Your gauge, and also the fiber content. And so for me, if a project's a wearable, like a cardi or a sweater or a skirts or dresses, you have to be much more careful about matching gauge so that you get the sizing right, and matching the fiber content so you know how it's going to drape and hang. Something like a tote bag, it doesn't absolutely have to be the exact size, right? You can make it bigger, you could make it smaller, and in fact I added an extra pattern repeat of the colors. This is striped. If you're blind, it has horizontal stripes. So I did that. But it doesn't have to be an exact size, right? It can be a little, if I substitute it with a yarn, if I get a number 4, now I was looking at the double crochet V-stitch, which I've also never done before. And I know Cody uses it a lot in his 1 yarn 5 ways, and his swatches and his samples. He uses a double crochet V-stitch often, and I hadn't done a project with it before, and I knew it was a pretty lacy, open, fast, beginner friendly stitch. Plus, I'd never crocheted a market bag before, a tote bag, and I really wanted something like that. Where I live, we don't even do plastic bags in our grocery stores anymore. You have to bring some type of reusable bag to the store. So these little market bags are super, super handy. And I've been saying, right, if you watched my video on dishie, I made a video that says come learn about dishie, 100% machine washable cotton yarn from Knit Picks and We Crochet. And if you're blind, I am holding up a dishie cone in the Fiesta Red. These cones are, I think, over 700 yards of cotton. They are a good price if you like to do things. If you like to do things like dish towels and market totes, these cones are a great deal because you get a lot of yardage. So as you know, you often see them. I got the white one here. My dishie cones are often hanging out with me because if I'm listening to something on YouTube and I just want to practice my crochet, if I want to learn a new stitch, I'll grab a dishie cone and just grab a hook and start working it. So they're just, I like to have one nearby for that. So they're often hanging out right here with me. And I thought, well, I can't think of a better use, right? I just can't justify buying even 3 more skeins of yarn right now. And I wanted to do it. And as I said in my other video, I'm kind of feeling the red, white, and blue. I do live in the United States, kind of wanting to rock my red, white, and blue this summer. And I knew I had the Fiesta Red, I knew I had the blue and the white, and I also am colorblind. If you don't know that yet, I'm colorblind. And so for me, matching colors is super tricky. It's really, I gotta text pictures of my yarns to my sister or my mom or something and be like, can I put these together? Can I put these together? And I don't ever know. So I knew that I could put these 3 colors together. I knew that. I didn't have to text anybody to know that I could put red, white, and blue together. So that's also why I went with those colors. I do have the dishie and cream brulee and in jalapeno, and they are hanging out here with me too right now because I'm doing something else. If you saw my video on the squares on spring, that's my May Day video. I do have it, but I do struggle with knowing what colors go good together. And I just knew that I could totally put the red, white, and blue together. So when I was wanting to substitute it for a market bag, I knew that I wanted a number 4. I thought if I do it in a number 5 weight yarn, I think the holes are going to get a little bit big, right? The double crochet V-stitch, it does leave you with these nice open holes, which makes it a nice mesh bag, which makes it very stretchy, which is good for a market bag. But I didn't think I wanted to go with anything bigger than a 4. And so that's why I went with something else like the dishie, which is a 4. So that was one reason I did that. I knew I also wanted something that was machine washable. I wanted something that was durable. I wanted something that was hard wearing, right? That could take a lot of weight, that I could throw in the wash machine. I could bring it home from the store, and if something leaked on it, right? Or if it just, I felt the store was a little dirty or something, that I could just toss it into the wash machine and not have to worry about it and wash it over and over. So I knew I wanted something washable. Now, I did go with a cotton and not a polyester, and we will talk more about that in a bit when I talk about the handles. Because I do believe that the dishie cotton is probably a lot stretchier than the polyester. So that is something to keep in mind when you're making yours. If you're substituting yarns, you want to look at gauge and you want to look at fiber content. And so yes, the cotton, I think, gave this a lot more stretch. So keep that in mind. So that's the first thing I had to do, was substitute some yarn and work with my stash. I'm really trying hard to work and burn through my stash, okay? So the other thing is that Glenda immediately started with having you do your chain and then work into the back bump. Now, I finally, after months, figured out how to crochet in the round, right? I got a video on baskets about that. I didn't even know I was crocheting wrong for months. And I can crochet off of knitting needles, right? This is my Astoria tonal skirt. I got videos on that where I knit the top and then I work from the knitting needles onto the crochet hook. And so I can work my stitches that way. But I still struggle with making a crochet chain and working that first row of stitches into the chain and maintaining my stitch count. That's still really, really hard for me to do by feel. It's really challenging for me. And so I did try to work in the back bump. I worked a few stitches. It took a lot. I was really fumbling to feel exactly where. I was struggling to get my hook into it. And in crocheting, I'm still kind of getting the hang of crocheting into the chain by feel. And so it became very frustrating for me as a beginner to crochet into the back bump by feel. And I'd only done a few stitches and I was having to rework it. And it was just taking the joy out of it for me. Now, do I want to be challenged as a new crocheter? Absolutely I do. I take on knitting and crocheting every project as a challenge. I'm like, can I do this? Can I make this, right? Everything that I take on, it's like, can I do it, right? Can I make this? So I come with every project with an excitement, knowing it's going to be a challenge and it's exciting and it's new. But I also still want to enjoy it. And I still want it to be fun. So know that and find your balance with a project, right? You want to challenge yourself, you want to learn new skills, but if you're a beginner, you don't want to get to the point that you want to throw the yarn and be like, nope, I can't do it, right? I'm done with this project. And so as much as I tried to work into the back bump, I got too frustrated with it. So you'll see one big difference in my bag from Glendas right away is that I gave up on working into the back bump for now, okay, and I just worked into the chain. So you'll see that difference in the bottom of my bag. So if you're a new crocheter or you're blind or visually impaired and you're trying to crochet by feel and you're struggling with the back bump, know that you can work into the chain, and the bottom of your bag will look like mine. It's not going to look as professional as Glenda's. It's not going to look as nice as Glenda's, but you will still definitely have a very functional market tote bag. So is it an improvement? No, absolutely not. Glenda's the professional, but it's a modification for a beginner or anybody who struggles with working into the back bump. So know that you can do this project. So if you see this tote bag and you're like, I really want to do that, but you're struggling with the back bump, you can do it. You can just do work into the chain. And if you can get the glow yarn, I say do it, especially if you're making it for a kid, right? Kids love glow in the dark stuff. I would have loved a glow in the dark bag as a kid. So if you're making this as a gift for a grandchild or something, and you want to get them the glow in the dark yarn, I say do it. Do it, okay? Or like I lived in Portland for 10 years, and I've always been too blind to legally drive. That meant I spent hours of my life on buses with my guide dogs. If you don't know that, I had 3 German Shepherd guide dogs during my teens and my 20s and my early 30s. I had a video I just released on that called Meet My 3 Guide Dogs, if you're interested in that. So I spent my time in Portland. It's dark by 5. It's rainy. It's cloudy. I'd be waiting at bus stops in the dark, and then I'd still have to go to the store or go to the gym, and it was dark. And a glow-in-the-dark tote bag would have been super, super cool. And it would have helped me show up. I would have been more visible to the bus drivers and other drivers. So if you live in a city and you take public transit, if you're out walking around at night, going to the store, if you got the money and the ability to get the glow-in-the-dark yarn, I say do it. If I ever get my hands on it, I'll probably do it. And I'll probably even challenge myself to work into the back bump, okay? But I didn't. So also know that you don't have to give up on a project just because it says that if you're struggling with that. So that was the first thing I did differently. And then because it's a video tutorial and because I was crocheting and I kind of knew what to do with that, I started watching something else on YouTube that was live. And I don't even remember what it was, but I was just doing the crocheting. And then I needed to get to the part, I think I'd done crochet into each side of the chain, and then I'd done around a half double crochets, and I couldn't remember if you started then with your double crochet V-stitch or not. I couldn't remember, and I didn't want to go back to Glenda's video until I finished watching what I was watching live. So I just stuck in around of double crochets. I just did a round of double crochets because I couldn't remember, and I was just, just playing with my yarn because that's what I do. And I put in a round and a half of double crochets and then started the double crochet V-stitch. And then, of course, I did go back to Glenda's video, and I realized that she did not do that. And so I definitely modified the pattern, okay? That's what I do. I just make stuff up. So if you wanted your bag to have a wider base like mine, you could certainly do that. You could add in a row of double crochets before you got into your double crochet V-stitch. So then I definitely followed Glenda's pattern, except I substituted the colors with the Fiesta red and the white and the blue. That was the order of my colors. And then, as I said, because now she was working with just the little skeins of the glow, which are kind of small skeins, so she didn't have a lot of yarn to work with. So she could only make her little tote so big. And because I had these giant cones, I could have made a mammoth bag, right? I could have made a bag so big. I had 3 of these cones, and I still have lots of Fiesta and white and blue and jalapeno. These cones go a long way. So I did go ahead and add on, I think, at least one more pattern repeat of the striping. So I did that. So if you're substituting, you can definitely, if you've got bigger skeins of yarn, you could certainly feel free to add on a few more stripes, right? A few more stripies. to make a deeper, bigger bag. So of course my bag ended up being wider at the bottom because I put in an extra round, and then my bag ended up being longer because I had more yarn, and I thought, why not, why not, why not? So I did that, and then when I got to the part on the strap, she had us make a chain of 100. Now I did that. I followed the directions. I made a chain of 100, but to me it seemed long. And then also on the chain, she also works into the back bump. And of course, that will give you a much nicer looking. And she says it looks more finished, it looks more professional, and it does. It absolutely does. But again, I tried working into the back bump, and I just found it so frustrating. So I ended up just working a regular half double crochet into my chain. So this is what my chain looks like. It does not quite look like hers, but it's still a very functional strap, right? This is what the sides of mine look like. You got the V's on top, and you got that's the back bump. Had I worked into the back bump, my straps would definitely look different. It would have the stitch on both sides of it. But I just got too frustrated trying to do that. So again, if you struggle with working into the back bump because you're new to crochet, or you're crocheting by feel and you have a really hard time finding that, don't be afraid, even on the straps, to modify it for a beginner, for your needs, for whatever. So once I did that with the 100 chains, right, thinking this is going to be something that I might take to a farmer's market and put some apples in and some cheese and whatever, I tested it out with my little dishie cones, which are pretty heavy because I knew I wanted to put some heavy stuff in there. And immediately, because I used cotton, and that is one thing to keep in mind, when you substitute fibers, they will behave differently in your finished project, right? This is my market tote with nothing in it. I'm wearing my shorts. I hope you can see them. These are my red shorts that I designed myself. They are knit with the crochet trim. So this is my market tote, empty. And then you put your big dishie cones in there, like if you're putting your apples in there, and it definitely weighs it down, which is what I wanted to see what happened with it. Because I've had that happen with market totes and water bottle slings. As soon as you put something in it, if it's cotton, it's really gonna stretch. And I knew substituting a cotton for a polyester, I was gonna get a lot more stretch. And I just didn't like, to me, the strap felt way too long. So I went ahead and frogged and ripped out. I thought the 100 was too long. And I think I ended up doing 70 stitches per strap. And with the cotton, that ended up being, for somebody of my size, I'm 5'4.5". Give me that half. Come on. So for me, I just felt like the 70 stitches on the strap was more than adequate for me. So again, keep that in mind. If you're doing the polyester glow yarn, you can probably do 100 stitches and it's not going to stretch as much as 100% cotton yarn is going to stretch, okay? Fibers behave differently. Always keep that in mind. If you're substituting cottons or polyesters for acrylics for wool, even the difference between wool and alpaca, there are differences. Now, I love to play with fibers, and I love to substitute yarns, and I love, because story of my life, right? Discontinued yarns. So I'm always having to find substitutes. So I love doing that, but it is something that you have to keep in mind. So if you're using 100% cotton on this, you might, and it's a number 4 weight cotton, you might need to make your straps a little bit shorter. So that's the other modification that I did. So that's my little combo on substituting yarns and modifying patterns for beginners or for people with whatever your disability might be. If it's a vision issue, if it's a dexterity issue, whatever it is, if you're struggling and it's putting you to the point of frustration that you're like, I don't want to do this anymore, it's not fun, then think about modifying it to work for you so that you've got a balance of challenge and a balance of joy. And for me, with all my projects, I try to find that balance. Am I learning something new? Am I challenging my skills? But I'm still having fun? Then that's what I'm trying to find, right? And did I learn something new? Yes, this is my very first crocheted market bag, okay? It's my very first one, so I'm good with that. I did something new. I got to practice working into the chain in a circle, or in this case I guess kind of an oval, not a circle, but an oval, working into a long chain, working around the edge. I got to practice that skill. I got to make a project with the double crochet V-stitch, which was learning a new stitch, and I know as somebody who really likes to design their own projects, I gotta learn my stitches, right? I've got to learn my stitches. I've got to learn my multiples. I'm learning the double crochet V-stitch is a multiple of 3. You work your stitch, you skip 2, work your stitch, skip 2. So, I hope that's right. I hope I didn't say that wrong. No. I hope that was correct. So, I know as a beginning crocheter, that's super important for me to do, is to learn my stitches and learn my multiples. And so I thought a market tote bag is a practical item that I can use, and it's going to give me the opportunity to practice how to do the double crochet V-stitch. So I absolutely challenged myself, right, by taking on something that was new to me. And I got that balance, but at the same time, I didn't get to the point of frustration where it took all the joy from me. And that's really what I want to say to people who are new to crochet or knitting too. Trust me, just because I've been knitting for like almost 16 years, I still get frustrated with trying to learn new things. And sometimes I take on a project and I'm like, you know what? I'm not there with this project. This is not fun for me anymore. So find ways to modify. And I do that with my knitting all the time. I'm like, you know what? Can I do this? Can I do this? How can I make it work for me? And that's what we're all about on this channel. We're about promoting the idea, right? What do I say? Creativity is for everybody. So if you need to modify something to work with your skill level, then do that. If you need to modify something that works with your budget and your stash, because you just can't make one more yarn purchase that month, even though you really, really want all the yarn, of course you do, do it. Say, what do I have in stash? What can I make with this? How can I make it work for me? And that's what my life is all about. As somebody with a disability, I'm all about adapting things, right? I'm all about saying, I can't do that with my eyes, so how am I going to do it by feel or by smell or whatever? With my hearing, I find ways to do things differently all the time. And so for me to modify a pattern like this, it didn't take much at all for me to be like, you know what? I can still do this. I'm just going to do it differently, because that's how I approach life, right? I wash my dishes. I do it by feel. I just do it differently. I cross streets. I don't look for cars. I listen for cars. I do the same things you do. I just do them differently. I learn to adapt, and I learn to modify, and I learn to find different ways that work for me. So that's what I want to tell anybody out there who's taking on knitting and crocheting. Don't give up completely if something's not working for you. Adapt. Be flexible. Modify. Be creative, because that's what we're doing with knitting and crocheting. We're being creative. Okay? So be creative if you can't figure something out. So this is Glenda's Glow Tote, completely modified for a beginner and with a substituted yarn. And if my crochet skills ever get better and I ever get my hands on some glow yarn, you know I'll try it again and try to work into the back bump. So as I said, in no way is this a criticism of Glenda at all. I want to be as good of a crocheter as her. I just love her. I feel like when I work her tutorials, I feel like she's sitting right next to me. I've said it many times. My grandmother knit and crocheted. She passed away when I was 9. She didn't get to teach me. And I feel like Glenda's really giving me that opportunity to learn what I wish that my own grandmother could have done with me and for me. So Glenda's totally giving me that. So I'm not criticizing her. I just love her. I just wish that if I ever meet her, I'll give her a big hug. And, you know, there's a lot of things that I truly like about her. She's got a big old dog. I had 3 big old German Shepherds. She loves horses. Guess what? I used to have horses out here on this property. So we have a lot of things in common. Love of horses, love of big old dogs, love of the fiber arts, love of creating. So I'm not criticizing her in any way at all. I'm so appreciative and so thankful and so grateful for her tutorials. They allow me to be able to learn how to crochet. So this is just what I did. I hope it helps somebody out there. So if you want to, please feel free to leave me a comment in the comment section. Say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what you do while we hang out. Do you follow Creative Grandma? Do you do her tutorials? Have you done the double crochet V-stitch before? Have you made a market bag? Did you make this one? Do you like it with the glow in the dark? I'm thinking kids would love it with the glow in the dark yarn. I mean, come on. I'm a big kid and I love it with glow in the dark yarn. So seriously. So anyways, as I say, creativity is for everybody. Whether you see or you see like me, which is no color and not in the day, which is not so much, or you don't see it all, creativity is for you. And whether it's knitting or crocheting or sewing or quilting or beading or sculpting or painting or writing or whatever it is that you do, today is a great day to craft and create. Thanks so much for listening. Bye-bye for now.
Pause.
And at the end, as I say, I know most people are the opposite of me. They need light to see. I'm blinded by the daylight. If this is your first video by me, I am blinded by light, which is why I work in the dark. But I know most people want to see crochet and yarn. And most people who are visually impaired need light to see. So I like to turn on the light at the end and let you see my project. So here it is. This is Glenda's little glow tote. In the blue and the white and the Fiesta red. This is what the double crochet V-stitch looks like. I'm loving this little bag. And as I said, I only did the 70 stitches. Here, I'll show you a close-up of what my straps look like.
Tomorrow, Jane needs sunshine. Highs in the low 80s and lows in the upper 40s.
That's my screen reader, by the way. If you're wondering how a visually impaired person accesses the internet, they have a phone or a screen reader in their computer or a tablet that talks to them. And mine often randomly gives me the weather or news reports or food recalls. So anyway, this is the bump that you're supposed to work into. I don't know if you can see it in the red or not. But I got too frustrated with it. So my straps don't look quite as nice as hers, I'm sure. So you got your regular tops of your stitches, and then you can see the bottom of mine. And then this is what the base of my bag looks like. If you can see the red, I don't know. I don't know what people can see. I don't know what colors people can see. I'm colorblind, so I did not work into the back bump. So this is what the base of your bag, if you don't work into the back bump, this is what the base of your bag is going to look like. And of course, as I said, I did an extra round of double crochets because I was just crocheting along and didn't have a chance to get back to the video until I'd finished watching what I was doing. So, all right, thanks so much for listening. And have a great day. Until next time, bye-bye.
Pause.